really should say I heal the biology, because that's exactly what I do. But I also understand how the biology works, because the microbes and the biology, microbes is just one small part of the greater. There's so many different biological things in the soil, more that scientists have no idea what's in there most of the time. And I've learned, I learned from experience. I started reading Rodale's Organic Gardening magazines, and I started reading about feed the soil. I go, well, that's cool. Let's feed the soil. But I didn't know what was in the soil I was feeding. And really, seriously, I would say, because I didn't have access to a microscope, so I could look in there. All I know is everybody keeps saying feed the soil. I go, well, the soil is not alive. It's humus. It's organic matter. It's the biology that's alive. And I've developed lots of different ways to control diseases and pests. By control, I mean literally control. Because I tell people all diseases start in the soil. All tree and plant diseases start in the soil. Everything starts in the soil. Recently I did a podcast and we were talking about the biology of the soil, the biology of the air, the biology of the water, right? And I even got carried away talking about the biology of the earth, right? And so the way I've learned to work is I've discovered what is the most important thing that the biology does. It feeds us, right? And what is it that it feeds us? So I have a show called It's the Minerals. Now you know what I'm talking about. It's all about minerals, right? We need minerals in our body. Whenever a tree has a disease, it's always a trace mineral deficiency. Whenever we have a disease, it's a trace mineral deficiency in our body. We're supposed to be getting the minerals from the plants we eat and the animals and creatures we eat. You see? So that hasn't really happening a lot unless you really have I recently, for the last 15 years, I haven't had my own garden. It's only in December that I moved back into Malibu. I have a garden in the backyard. And I'm not kidding. I'm so excited. I have lettuce. I have a bok choy growing, arugula growing. My cat goes out there. Oh, it's green. She started eating the vegetables too. I'm going, holy cow, right? And I love it that I had this dental work done. It blew up my stomach, right? So I couldn't digest things. And partially I was not able to go out. When my wife would say, go out and get some vegetables, I would go get them and come back with an empty tray. She says, what happens? I ate them all on the way back. That's true. I love going out and just eating right from there. What the heck are taking them in? You just eat it, right? Take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And I ate it with the soil. I remember I used to go, I was a really bad kid in New York City, so they sent me to Puerto Rico or Cuba. So in Puerto Rico, my family had a big farm, and I would go out there and I'd take some. I remember once I would take a carrot, pull it out, I was washing it. My great-grandmother says, what are you doing? And says, I translated to English. She says, what are you doing? I said, I'm washing the carrot. She said, no, put it back in. I put it back in, take it. Okay, now eat it, soil and all. Soil and all. And I felt, that got into my brain. I go, well, because, and I still, to this day, I tend to eat some of the compost. I eat some of the earthworm castings, right? I mean, it has changed my stomach. And literally, I started in January or February. Was it February I started, Michelle? February or January I started the garden?
Yes, it was a sandy patch.
Sandy patch. Nothing there had been growing for a long time. And so it's only been maybe 2 months. And I already have massive amounts of stuff. But my stomach is going, because I used to be a breatharian until the air got really bad. I remember in Costa Rica, I would go, wonderful, eat. But so I had to become a vegetarian. And I really love being a vegetarian because you don't hurt, I would say you don't hurt anything, but you do kill the vegetables. I was with Ann Wigmore, the Hippocrates Health Institute. She would say, you gotta eat. She'd grow all these sunflowers. You have to eat the sunflowers. You mean I gotta kill the sunflowers? So I would take them and plant them. So I still have a little bit of an etch about killing little plants, but now I say, excuse me, and take it. But let me be serious for a while. I can't be serious. This whole thing is so funny. I really enjoy doing this. I've been doing it for a long time. Recently, a customer sold a home for $14 million. I've been there for about 20 years. It happens to me all the time because I make the place so fantastic. People go, what is going on here? There's one place, I have a customer since 1984, right? Okay, so I got to, she she has a stone pine, a very rare stone pine tree. It's in Malibu. She also, her place is where the Ridgeways had a train. And remember, they had their own trains. They had their own little country and had a train station. Right there, they planted this stone pine. It's about 50 years old, 60 years old, something like that. Well, it had bark beetle. And she had 14 different arborists come. Each arborist say, cut it down, sorry. The last one says, I know this guy who does voodoo, maybe you may want to talk to him, right? That was me. The tree is still there. Every once in a while, this arborist will stand in front and go, any day now it's got to die because this is ridiculous, right? It's just not going. I said, well, don't you really want to know why it's not dying? And I discovered, only because I'm a good gardener, if you're a good gardener, you will discover a lot of things, a lot of things. So I discovered the reason why bugs and diseases go after plants. And I learned, I loved Dances with Wolves, so I wrote a book called Dances with Ants. But one of the things I learned is the wolf always goes after the sick sheep, right? That's the way it is in Mother Nature. Mother Nature is very clever. Mother Nature, she's really super smart. She's the best recycler on the planet, right? She can take things, she can take minerals and spread it all around the world, right? That's what she does. She takes minerals. Oh, I love the static. Isn't that fun? My hair just went shoo. So she's an excellent recycler. The problem is, we are interfering with that recycling, right? The plastics and the junk and all this stuff. It's just, so we're all going through trace mineral deficiency. Unless, so when a tree has a certain trace mineral deficiency, there's always, I call it the exotics, right? There's 96 different trace minerals, 96 minerals you need. Your body needs all of them. Even needs gold, even needs the stuff you think you shouldn't have, like lead, mercury. Those things, you need those too, but you need them in billions of parts billion per parts, right? Gold is very interesting because we use gold for the energy cycles, for the way the meridians flow, uses gold. I have another talk about gardening and energy, because I talk a lot about energy. Because one of the reasons why you need the trace minerals, and I'll tell you this, no one can hear it from anybody else except me, because I'm really crazy. I'm out there, my hair starts going like this. Is when, you know what cosmic ray is, right? Everybody knows a cosmic ray. It's a beam. It's a little ray, a little micron, or whatever you call it, that shoots through the earth, and it'll shoot through the earth in 1/1000th of a second, in and out the other side. All the time. We are evolved with this happening to us all the time. We're being bombarded constantly with all these cosmic rays shooting through the earth. And you know what happens when it goes through and hits a mineral? It absorbs that cosmic energy. So my theory is we're cosmic beings because we're 90%, 90% water, 75% water, something like that, right? And I tell people, water follows the energy. Biology follows the energy. I learned how trees communicate because they have a network. It follows the energy. We're cosmic beings because we have evolved with this energy. When an energy comes into us, we eat it and we absorb it. See, right? So you know the saying, when you're grounded? You're grounded when you have all the trace minerals. And a tree is even more important because the tree just stands there, right? A tree is like an antenna. If the tree is not grounded, it's not going to get all the energy, all the trace minerals and everything they need, and it will get a disease and pest. The way all insects and bugs and diseases have evolved. So I talk a lot about a refractometer. Anybody know what that is? Hey, Michael. Well, you all should really know what a refractometer is. A cool little device that was invented by a scientist who also was a cook. And he when you go shopping, I know when I went shopping with my mom would take no good. And the guy finally said, okay, here, you slice it, you eat that, right? So you want something really sweet, right? You say, oh, it tastes good. In Mother Nature, if you eat something sour, it's usually toxic, but sweet you want to eat. So a refractometer is a measurement of sugar. How much, it's a bricks reading, how much sugar. I've discovered, and not just me, but any really good farmer, the higher the bricks level, the higher the mineral level. It's a really cool device because it tells you approximately if you're doing the right thing, right? Oh, look at that, look at that, look how high it gets. And so what happens is that bugs have a built-in refractometer, I swear. These guys can see the same thing you're seeing when you see there, but in a different way, because every energy, every mineral has a color. That's a refractometer is usually used. You look at stars, and scientists say what it's made of, simply by the colors that it gives off. So imagine a bug will look at a tree and they go, no, no, yes. And that tree, if it's sick, will give off a different color. So the bug will know automatically, I'm going to go lay my baby in a place that's food for my baby. I'm not going to put her in there because they'll starve. See, I tell people, if it's food for the bug, it's not food for people. And the bug is doing its thing. The bug is going after what it says. It's not. So what happens is, and this is another discovery of mine. It's in my book there, and it's really, I think it's the most important thing, because you know what carbohydrates are, right? Okay, so you know what happens if you don't eat the good food, you get bad carbohydrates, right? Well, guess what? Trees do the same thing, and plants do the same thing. So if a plant's weak, it produces simple carbohydrates. When the plant's healthy, it produces complex carbohydrates. And guess what bugs can't eat? Go ahead, make a wild guess. Right, exactly. So that's built in right into the system. A bug will go, I can't eat that. So that pine bark beetle that I was talking about, little guys flying around, ladies flying around, oh look, everything's perfect for my children. So they dig a hole in there, bury their children, and when the children are born, they start eating the plant. So no mother in the right mind will plant babies if they can't eat. So I've learned that as an arborist, when I started doing arborist work, I realized,